You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
Good morning, everybody. It's Monday morning, bright and early at 6 a.m. If you got a car question, give us a call at 850-763-0555. Couldn't even remember my phone number this morning. This weekend was a busy weekend for me. I get to go work my bees, and everything was doing fine, but I decided to take my veil off and weed whack around some beehives I had. Bad move. I shouldn't have done that. I hit one hive, and they decided to chase me around. They chased me around. Got stung a few times in my face and my back, and I told myself, never again will I take my weed whacker out without at least having a veil on. I don't mind being stung, but being stung in the face, not exactly a very pleasant thing to happen. It doesn't feel good. But if you got a car question, enough about bee stuff, give us a call at 850-763-0555. We do a lot of drivability studies at James Auto Center. What we do is we find out a lot of times people bring us cars that have gone not to one shop, not to two shops, but as many as 3 and 4 shops before they find their way to our door. We get them for different reasons, whether it's from cars that have brake jobs that won't now stop, which we see quite often, or we have cars that come in that had, quote, tune-ups on them and they have check engine lights still. Those are the two biggest things that I see come in here on a regular basis that have been to other shops trying to diagnose what the problem is. When I say brakes that won't stop, we have customers that come in here and they've had a brake job done, and now the pedal goes to the floor, and they put master cylinders on, calipers on, brake lines on. I mean, they just put everything on, and they still have the same problem. They bleed the brakes, and there's a systematic way of approaching this. If you've got a car that you've done a brake job on, and you cannot get a brake pedal on it, I'm going to give you some tricks here to help you out. A lot of people make this mistake. It's an easy mistake to do, and it's just because, well, I had to learn it myself. No one taught this to me, so I'm going to give you something that took me years to learn. If you've got a car that you're having a problem getting a brake pedal on, and you can pump the pedal up, you can continue to pump the pedal, and you get somewhat of a decent pedal, but if you wait 5 seconds and the pedal goes to the floor, then you've got air in the system somewhere, or you've got play that's being taken up due to a slide on a caliper that's frozen or something like that. So what you're going to need now this is not exactly recommended by the Society of Automotive Engineers, but I'm just going to tell you this is what happens. Your brake hoses, what you need to do is clamp the brake hoses gently, not so hard that it's going to cause it to cause a problem with the brake hoses. Remember, inside the rubber brake hoses, it's like a straw, a plastic straw inside the rubber brake hoses. If you squeeze them too hard, just like you would a plastic straw, you know how you can kink them. So what we're going to do is we're going to take like needle nose vice grips and put 2 rubber hoses on it to insulate the jaws where it won't cut into the rubber or damage the rubber. Pump the brake pedal up. Clamp off all the brake lines on the vehicle. Most cars have 1 brake line going to the rear and a brake line for each one to the front. So you're going to need at least 3 pairs of vice grips. In some cars you have 4 hoses. You have we have 1 hose for each caliper in the back and 1 hose for each caliper in the front. So you may need as many as 4 vice grips with rubber hoses on the end of it, just where it will not damage the hose. Pump the brake pedal up, get a good pedal on it, hold it down, have a helper go and clamp all 4 of the hoses. Go clamp them all. Clamp them all, and then take your foot off the brake, wait 10 seconds, and hit the pedal. If the pedal's rock solid, rock hard, then you know you've got a problem on one of the calipers. You don't know which one it is, so systematically, starting at the right rear or wherever you may want to start, take 1 off at a time, and then see what happens to the brake pedal. If your brake pedal stays the same or goes down just slightly, and everything seems fine, other than maybe it just goes down just a hair, then that's not a problem on that wheel. Keep doing it till you come to the wheel that you take the vice grips off the line, and all of a sudden your pedal goes to the floor. That is going to be the wheel, or that's going to be the area that needs to be looked at. Either you've got air still in the line and that caliper, or you've got a slide that will not allow the caliper to slide together. What ends up happening is you've got one that slides and the other one that's locked, and so what ends up happening, you pump it up, you get a pedal, and you let go of it, it backs off, and then you hit it again, you got this big space it has to fill in, and so you end up having a low brake pedal. So that's an easy way to diagnose what's wrong with it. I've seen that happen. And a lot of times when we see this happen, it's the slides that are stuck, where they will not allow them to, only one slide. There's 2 slides on each caliper, and they're supposed to slide together and go in. Well, what ends up happening is one will get frozen and allow just one side to go in, and then as you pump your pedal up, you got a pedal. When you let off on it, of course it comes back, but you still got that big gap down there that has to be filled in. So when you hit your pedal goes to the floor. So that's a very easy solution to figure out which wheel it might be. A lot of times we find where people have actually put, well, the last one we had caliper upside down, where the bleeder is below the hose instead of above the brake hose. We saw that on a 2004 Chevy Impala. We see this quite often on a lot of cars when people do their own brake jobs. There's a right and a left caliper, and people don't pay a lot of attention to right and left. They go on there and they go, okay, I got it on there. Now where is, I bleed the brakes and I got the air out of it. No air is coming out, but I still have no pedal. Please pay attention to where the bleeder is. You will find out a lot of times you may have a caliper that may be marked right or left on the box, and it may be incorrectly boxed. You may end up putting the right one where the left goes, the left where right goes, and they may fit. They really will fit, but you're going to have problems. I got Tom, who's calling. I have no idea where he's calling from, with a 2005 GMC Denali. Tom, is that a gas? That's a gasoline engine, is it correct?
Yes, James.
What's your question about it, sir?
I'm having problems with my air conditioner. I think about 2 months ago, my wife and I were sitting at a red light. Mm-hmm. We took a right, and we went probably 50 yards. And during that time, the air turned hot. Ooh. We went ahead and hung a left to get onto our street to go home, mm-hmm. and we went probably another 50 yards or so, and the air came back on during that time frame.
It came back on cold then?
It came back on cold. So right. I thought maybe it was a hiccup or something, mm-hmm. and since that time, I think I had it in the shop with mm-hmm. you, and I didn't think to think about telling you. But yesterday, my wife went to the grocery store in the morning, mm-hmm. Winn-Dixie, mm-hmm. about half a mile away. Air conditioner worked fine. Mm-hmm. She got her groceries. She got in the car. She was heading down 231, and she noticed that the air went ahead and got hot. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. So she pulled over, turned the engine off, put some dry ice on her groceries, mm-hmm. and when she got back in and started it up, the air was cold. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now is it cold on one side of the ducts coming out and hot on the other, or hot on all the ducts coming out?
I think it's hot on all of it. I know that the first time she mentioned it to me that the air was hot, mm-hmm. and I had the ducts directed away from me. Mm-hmm. So I really can't answer that question because I was wondering the same thing, if it was coming, if it was one or the other.
Well, let me look here, but Tom, what you're describing to me sounds like an electrical glitch. Either it's not allowing the compressor to continue to operate when this happens, causing the hot air, not cold air, to come out, or it could be a low pressure switch that's kicked off the compressor, or a AC compressor relay. So what I'm going to do, sometimes I don't know all the answers, but what I do know is if I go to the internet and I type in your car and I say intermittent blowing hot, air conditioning, sometimes they'll tell me what to look for on a 2005 GMC Denali. Let me see if I can pull this up here on Identifix, and maybe I can give you an idea. But that's something I've seen. But normally it has to do with a switch. It tells me that if it's cold one day and hot the next, or intermittent, that tells me there's nothing wrong with the compressor as far as the refrigerant losing refrigerant. That's in there. That's not a problem. What the problem is going to be an electrical problem. Now, some of these, if you some of the programming on it, if I'm not mistaken, on the programming, if you go wide open throttle, it allows the compressor to kick off and to keep from breaking the AC belt on this. They have the programming on it. There is a problem sometimes about it kicking off and not coming back on for about a minute because of the programming. I've run across that. So let me take a look and see what I have found on a 2005 GMC Denali. Like I said, I don't know all the answers, but I have an idea where we might be able to find them. And we're going to go to the Denali, and let's see what I can find here. That they call this the is it a Yukon or Denali GMC? What do they call this one?
It's the Denali.
Okay, I want to make sure I do it right because I'm sitting here going under Jimmy's.
Got the 6.0 on it.
All right, hang on just a second. Let me get this right here. I keep hitting the wrong button. It's too early in the morning there, Tom.
I know it
I
is.
can't get my brain working here. Model, that's not it. Canyon, that's not it. Envoy, Denali, there we go. They call that an Envoy Denali is what they call it. But you say it's got a 6.3 in it?
I think it's 6.0, James.
6.0, excuse me. All right. Let me see what okay, I got this. Now I'm going to put down AC. I'm just going to put down AC blows hot. And let's see what happens. Blows hot. AC blows cold, then quits. Let me put down AC blows cold, then quits. That's what it works. That's what happens. And they're saying on yours, the right rear airbag, that's not it. Compressor dot run, that's not it. That has to do with air compressor. AC compressor inoperative, that's not it. Automatic control head is dead. Compressor will not come on, it's full of Freon. AC blows warm. AC high side 450. AC will not come on. High side pressure on scan tool reach 400. The biggest thing I see on the biggest thing as far as electrical is going to be the control head or the clutch relay, the air conditioning clutch relay. Like the one AC product, compressor will not come on, it's full of refrigerant. Sometimes I've seen where the AC relay will not work, allowing the compressor and some to kick off or not to kick on at all. And sometimes when they get where they work, they get hot and they kick off. Then they cool down, then they start working again. Could be something as simple as a relay. Tom, the best thing I'm going to tell you to do is please come by here at your earliest convenience. I'll grab a scanner, I'll look for codes, I'll see what's going on. We'll see if we can verify your problem, but my money is it's not going to be a very serious problem. It's probably just going to be a relay. That it's 2005, so we know we got a 12-year-old car, almost 12 years old. That relay could be defective. A relay is nothing more than a set of points. And, and you know how points used to be on cars. They get pitted and they don't work. Could be the same problem. But I don't know. Come on by. It won't cost you anything but 15 minutes of your time, and we'll see what we can do to get you straightened out. Yeah,
I'm with you. I'll call back about 7:30 or so and talk to Paul about scheduling.
Let's get it in here. It won't take long at all to do. And like I said, this is something that I see often, and normally it has to do with either a large gap between the compressor and the clutch where it's more than 20,000, say it's 40 or 50,000, and when the compressor relay kicks on to send voltage down there, the electromagnet's not strong enough to pull the clutch in. I've seen that. I've also seen it where the compressor clutch is only allowing 11 to 11.5 volts to go to the compressor, and that will cause the same problem, cause it to get too hot and not work. It'll slip, causing the clutch to get too hot and not make good contact. So bring it on by. We'll take a look and see what we can do.
Okay, I know I just didn't want to have any damage. You know.
Absolutely. No one wants that. I don't think you got anything serious right now. Just like I said, let's come by. If the air conditioning is working like it's supposed to right now, and it intermittently doesn't work, it could be anything from a low pressure switch to a bad relay to just a bad connection. It doesn't sound very, very complicated at all. Like I said, just come on by and we'll take a look at it.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, sounds good, Tom. Thanks for calling. And thank you for watching my show. I appreciate that. At least I got one person out there watching my show.
I watch it every day.
That's what I know. I'm impressed. Thank you so much, Tom. We're trying to get this election kicked off over here, and my wife has been the campaign manager, and she was sitting there last night going through our putting our flow chart together.
I got your sign out in the road.
Oh, well, that's very nice of you to say that. I appreciate that. And I'm not allowed to talk about my campaign on TV, so I can't talk about that. But anyway, thank you so much, Tom. I'm going to see. I think I've got Scott Hobbs calling from Hobbs Plumbing.
Okay,
and we'll be
talk
back
to you later.
Sounds
Thank
good,
you.
Sir. All right, thank you. Bye bye now.
James Auto Center, we fix it right.